Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back, and Rama says hello as well.
Hello there, everybody. I hope you all had a happy Christmas.
Yes, he has his big cute nose right here he's at the mic. Yes.
Yes, he likes to stick his nose into things.
He does. He's a nose sticker.
So we did this video, Patreon only, this morning, and I was just looking at some comments, and Peter in Arizona was just saying that there was cases of issues with a fatal disease with pets in Vegas area as well. Always thankful for you guys sharing what you're seeing out there, and always appreciate adding to the videos with the comments. We have to all be as aware as possible, and one of the things that we stressed in this video was all about boosting that immune system for what is to come.
Yes, I mean, that was really important. It was actually kind of an intimate discussion. We go over some personal things about our own journeys and how we got where we're at, and why, and how we help others.
Absolutely. So, onward. We want to thank Sister, by the way, Sister, for our newest Patreon support. Meanwhile, here we go again. Roads into JFK airport blocked by protesters. Let's just leave it as that. As we've seen just more and more protests all over the place. Now, over in LAPD, you got police in riot gear as they block the entrance to LAX airport, armed with rocks and throwing cones. As you can see, it's a little bit more aggressive right now over in LA, but it was certainly aggressive over in New York City the other night, where many people were arrested. You know, there's going to be this blurring of a line. This is what's coming through to me right now, is there's going to be a blurring of the line between those that are literally protesting and those that are implanted, in some cases surgically, in some cases not so surgically, implanted into our society at the moment, that are waiting for a signal to go. And of course, we're talking about all the sleeper cells that have come across with all the illegal immigration that's been going on, as the numbers that are inside the country are just astronomical. And perhaps the biggest migrant caravan yet on the way, as far as one individual caravan. I mean, it's enough people to, pose a serious problem in outright warfare. And, again, we could see what's happening. It's a slow-moving train wreck.
Yeah, it's definitely going.
Yeah, it is underway. And meanwhile, we have this. Let's play this.
Honolulu officials are reassuring the public there is no emergency after a siren malfunctions and sounded in Mililani this morning, but the tone heard was a strange one. Area residents say the sound was blaring on and off from 8 a.m. throughout the morning, likening the tone to a doorbell, school bell, or something out of a sci-fi movie. City and county officials issued a statement around 11 o'clock assuring the public that the warning siren was malfunctioning and that technicians are investigating.
So what hits me is I wonder if it was a test of somebody that's going to come through, some other entity other than the regular public officials that are going to come through and let people know what's going on when there is something really big going on. Good Morning Vietnam. Do you remember Good Morning Vietnam? And do you remember Hanoi Jane? I'm sure some of you guys do. And, propaganda that comes through during a time of war, where all of a sudden messages will come through directly to the population from the opposing side. And so I got to wonder if there's some of that going on. Hawaii is interesting, too. Remember the false alarm about missiles coming in years ago? I forget when that was. Was it 2019, 2020? I think it was 2019 maybe. Or was it 2018? 2018, yeah. Missile incoming to Hawaii. again, Hawaii is way out there. Hawaii would be a first target for China and Russia to, well, not necessarily first target, because I think they're going directly into us and at us, but they would need to control it, just like, that first Japanese strike at Pearl Harbor. They would need to control this, obviously, in an all-out war. So it feels like there's something to that. And then I keep going back to the thing in Miami with the zombie alert. That actually brought up again a reference to The Walking Dead, an alert about zombies and that one, what was it now? Terminus, if you guys remember that. I have that stored on one of the other computers. Just weird, but it feels very purposeful.
I think so. It just seemed really creepy here too. It felt like that somebody definitely knows what's going on. They're just not saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we have Netanyahu confirmed during a Likud party session that work is underway to find countries that want to reabsorb the residents of Gaza as refugees. So, yeah, absolutely. What they're doing is they're giving everybody the boot, and, in not a nice way at all, obviously, to say the least. It is as atrocious as anything we've seen in our time, to say the least, as well. And it's pretty obvious that what is going to come is going to be a reprisal like we've never seen in our modern times. As I've shared with you guys months ago, I'm still having a hard time seeing something in this bigger picture, because to me it looks like we are heading down a slippery slope into a quickening of WW3. For those of you that know Joni Patri, she just did like a year's, she's a Vedic astrologer, by the way, one of the better ones on the planet. And so she was talking about astrologically how the election in 2024 looks like it's going to lead to a real civil war environment. And she can't see anything but that from looking at it astrologically. But from everything we've gotten, I just don't know how the election could happen. I just don't really see it happening this year. I just don't. Maybe it will. Timelines can change, and this is why we do this, is to change timelines. Because absolutely, it's not set in stone, and it's all about awakening the masses. I've seen comments before where people say, we just have to hold the positive vibes. We can do that, and that will protect you. Like, holding your frequency high will protect you. It really will. You always got these miracles that happen in all sorts of situations, including battlefields and, houses that somehow survive and are still standing after a massive earthquake wipes out everything else around it, or bombs are dropping and, well, this one house perfectly intact, nothing ever happened. Well, again, the power of intention, the power of prayer, asking for help from your guides, your guardian angels, etc., that has a big effect on our own safety and well-being. We always do, mantras, and we even do mantras before going just on a car ride. And I started to get into that habit long time ago. I mean, a very long time ago, before any sort of road trips, saying a prayer, putting out the positive intentions, asking to be protected and guided. But to change everybody's situation, we have to change and awaken all the consciousnesses out there. So, we can create our own little bubbles, so to speak. And yet, to really change the paradigm for the masses, you have to awaken the masses. You can't do that by not saying a word.
Yeah, that that whole thing where people say, well, you just put it out of your mind and it's not happening. I can understand when people are so stressed, they can no longer watch the news. Everybody has to take care of themselves, period. And a big reason why we started Hearts Home is because some people we know that we love very much, they can't watch the news. That's where they're at in their spiritual journey. But we still like to have contact with them. Everyone has to honor that. But at the same time, I do feel we have a responsibility to know what's going on so that we can shape shift it to what our collective conscious wants to see.
Yes, we ask the guides every day for guidance, every single day, multiple times a day, most days. And we meditate on it day and night. So, we're always tapping into the highest of what we can possibly tap into for guidance and what we should do. And, so again, it's all about, at this point in time, it's about awakening the masses so we can shift timelines. So we need to be aware of these type of things. And please do constantly put out your prayers for humanity, that the timelines may be shifted, that people will awaken. And, one of the things that Joni did say was that starting sometimes towards the end of April, there would be, I think April 20th of 2024, there would be a huge, huge awakening. I think earlier events in that month will have something to do with that awakening. And she didn't mention that, but that's something that I've felt strongly. And we'll know. I mean, more and more people will understand the bigger picture, and more people then will be actively shifting paradigms in their own minds, as, so much of what we've been taught is just abject falsehoods, one after the other. We've been given a bunch of sales that have sold us on so many things, including the fact that, hey, everything is set in stone. No, it's not set in stone. It is not set in stone. We can change paradigms. Meanwhile, Israel is readying for war on 7 fronts, as attacks recorded in neighboring countries. And so it lists the countries that are attacking them right now. They're being attacked from Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, West Bank, Iraq, Yemen, and Iran. And they're launching attacks back at 6 of the 7 of those. And we all know that the Houthis over in Yemen have been hitting more ships and firing on more ships. And obviously what's happened in Gaza is an atrocity on such a huge, huge scale. It's kind of inconceivable. Meanwhile, here are the Marines and NATO ready to deploy rapidly on different terrains and under all conditions. I thought this was interesting, as you see. NATO working for peace, security, and freedom for 1 billion people. Yeah, tell me another. The reality is, it's all the politicians that get us into this because they work for a control system that profits from chaos.
Mm-hmm. They love it.
They do. So, as long as there are these people that are willing to aim at us, any of us, whether we're sitting on NATO soil, whether we're sitting on BRICS soil, as long as you have armed armies that are ready at the drop of the hat to take out people they don't know just because they're being told to, and this is exactly what happens, you can stick your head down in any hole you want, but you're likely to get your butt shot or worse. And meanwhile, the U.S. shoots down 12 suicide drones, 3 anti-ship ballistic missiles, and 2 land attack cruise missiles fired by Iran-backed rebels in southern Red Sea, just over 10 hours. Yeah, this is over in the area where the Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group is located. Again, it's kind of amazing that it hasn't spread past that yet. But again, it's all according to their timelines, and they give us that the war in Gaza is going to drag on for many more months. People, humanity, this is all about pushing humanity to the absolute limit and the brink. And this is that ship that went up in that strike done by Ukrainian forces, or so they say. It was a Russian ship. Lost over 300 people. 87 Russians were killed in this explosion, so they say. I think this could be significant because you might see the same thing happening back towards a U.S. or NATO ship. Again, meanwhile, 45 is cleared to go ahead and give it a go in Michigan. So Michigan won't be following suit with Colorado. Also reports that the judge that ruled on that Colorado case was feeling like he was being threatened, which is, again, This wouldn't be surprising. And you guys all picked up on his energy. Everybody said, no, you could tell this guy's energy. It's downright dark.
He has serious issues.
He really, really does. And if you list this, I wouldn't want to be in Argentina. Now, the U.S. might see war on its soil in the coming year. I still wouldn't want to be in Argentina. Just the feeling of crackdown. And this is what's going to be in it for those other nations that are not necessarily going to come under direct conflict with the war. You will see a cracking down. And then you're still going to see people saying no, and no in bigger and bigger numbers. This is part of the awakening, which is going to quicken again in the springtime, according to Joni Petrie. The words that he uses, it's the words that he uses. You know, he's on the warpath. And it's just the words. It sounds so much like, again, that HIT, you know the rest of that name.
Indeed.
Meanwhile, banks terminate 60,000 workers in one of the bleakest years for the industry since 2008. Again, there's no need for humans doing this. It's all going to be AI, and that's the bottom line, especially in the new system, which will be completely automated. You know, you can't go and ask a teller, I want to take my money out. There ain't going to be any tellers there.
You know, and I was looking at the anchors too. They're not long for this world either.
Yes. We were noticing that the anchors on news, all the mainstream, they seem to be getting more and more AI-ish. Yeah, like they're being cloned and moved into place. Yeah. You know, who knows? Meanwhile, we have some states making a bold move to reclassify gold and silver and use them actually as currency, legal currency. Again, this is a move to separate some states, and namely Oklahoma and Missouri is where this is happening, from the federal system. And somebody else brought up a good point with the DEA, GEL numbers, and they said, have you ever considered that maybe the United States will only be 1/3 of the size? That is a great observation. That very well could be. I don't know what portion or what conglomeration of former states of the U.S. would be the new U.S., if there is a new U.S. of A, because other ones have left. I guess it really depends on who's in Casablanca. You know, is it 46 or one of those minions? Is it 45 or one of those minions? Well, we'll have to wait and see what they have planned for us.
We do have to wait and see. That's the unfortunate part of this whole thing.
Meanwhile, you have a neurosurgeon, Dr. Russell Blaylock, saying pregnant women who are using fluoride are causing their children to have a lowered IQ. Absolutely. You know, this is a neurosurgeon saying it. We obviously use filtration to remove fluoride and other chemicals and parasites. And yeah, I don't know. Is there a single person in the world still drinking out of a tap? I hope not, but I'm sure there are. And that's just a sad matter. It's a fact. And this is just one of the things, besides calcifying the pineal gland, which we've all talked about. Absolutely. We know there is a lowering of IQ going on the planet. And then you have big authorities saying there is some sort of massive crisis underway because life expectancy is jumping off a cliff. It's so obvious. We do better when we totally buck the system. That's the bottom line. Meanwhile, you have a Tesla engineer that was attacked by a robot in a Texas factory, according to reports. It dug its metal claws into the engineer's back and arm, leaving a trail of blood. It could probably break the arm right off. You know, this is the next step. What can we do, guys? Well, again, support each other. Work on doing what you can to get yourself self-efficient. And I wouldn't buy Tyson anything, nor here you go. These are all food producers that are already using insects. Hillshire Farm, Sara Lee, Jimmy Dean, Ballpark, Gallo, Pierre, State Fair, Original Philly, and Steak Ease. Again, the substances in the insects can give us an allergic reaction and inflammatory response very, very similar to what people have, certain people have with shellfish. It's called chitin, and it's going to, again, give you a nasty inflammatory response, at least a certain percentage of the public. It's just something to realize, again, as minimally processed foods as possible, or avoid processed foods totally.
I think it's our children that we really have to worry about, because there's so many moms who are completely exhausted. So they go and they look for healthy snacks or alternatives for their kids. And slowly but surely they are changing those ingredients. So whatever you are giving your children, if it's a healthy alternative, double check, because they're changing it little by little.
Yeah, and the food prices are going just insanely through the roof as Sita's walking around with her little baby toy there. And meanwhile, here you have Klaus Schwab, you know who he is, talking with the Google founder, Sergey Brin, on the possibility of a future without elections. There aren't going to be any elections, he's telling us. And of course, Sergey's going along with him. Thus, we understand the bigger picture. There's one word for this: slavery. Yeah. It's slavery, pure and simple, whether you're talking economic or otherwise. So the WEF, their annual meeting, rebuilding trust. It's never going to happen, guys. It's never going to happen. Those that are awakened, it's never going to happen, because we see right through you.
Definitely.
And here you see the apology afterwards. Yeah, as we will have an apology from certain sources. I do think that they realize that. And then, as we've said, their plan is to say, okay, this is how they institute the universal basic income, and also entice people to a new higher level, entice them to come into the cities and into the system. Because, you ever hear those, and Sita's whining about it. She's just whining about it. She doesn't like this talk about those cities. Don't worry, we're not going into the city, Sita. We're not going into the city. But you ever hear those commercials? If you have been injured in mesothelioma because you were in the Navy and you were exposed to asbestos, you might be entitled. Well, this is what's going to be out there because of everything that we've seen going on with the cure. And you know what we're talking about. That will be the enticement, because it's going to have to be admitted. And it will be admitted. And then they're going to say, this is what we're doing for you. And that might be your Gesara Nasara moment. But you got to jump into the system even deeper.
Yeah, it's not a good thing.
No. As always, guys, look forward to your comments. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.